Is the CGI shoddy at times? Sure. But like I've told literally everyone I've talked to, I don't know why, but for this movie, I just don't give a shit. I just truly didn't care. I was watching it. I saw it night and day, especially in some of those scenes.
It is bad sometimes.
Some of those scenes where there's two Barry Allens, it's like, fuck, that looks bad.
Yeah.
But I just sat there, I was like, I don't care, though. I truly don't care. Because I just loved this movie.
Yeah. Get there.
All right. Flash.
Oh boy, 10 years in the making. You're finally here.
Okay, yeah, I did not realize that.
Yep.
I didn't know it was. They literally had it in like some sort of production or development / production hell for literally like almost 10 years.
Yep.
I didn't realize it was all the way back in 2015.
Happy
like when
10-year anniversary to Man of Steel, by the way. That was this week.
Fucking love that movie. God damn it.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
Krypton had its chance. Fuck your ship. Like, oh god.
Great.
Fantastic popcorn movie. Right amount of humor. Great, cool special effects. Is the CGI shoddy at times? Sure. But like I've told literally everyone I've talked to, I don't know why, but for this movie, I just don't give a shit. I just truly didn't care. I was watching it. I saw it night and day, especially in some of those scenes.
It is bad sometimes.
Some of those scenes where there's two Barry Allens, it's like, fuck, that looks bad.
Yeah.
But I just sat there, I was like, I don't care, though. I truly don't care. Because I just loved this movie.
I loved it. I think the only part with the CGI that I was like, what the fuck, was when you would see the same shot more than once and the CGI was completely different. And I don't know if that was supposed to be time distortion, but it didn't look like it. The
director came out and said that some of the effects were shoddy and shitty, like on purpose, because you're supposed to be seeing it from you're supposed to interpret it as like it's being perceived very odd.
Okay. Yeah, it sure was. I'll tell you that.
Which I can kind of see because, I mean, honestly, there's tons of other shit in this movie that's clearly CGI, and I was like, this looks good.
Yeah, sure. Facts, yeah.
So, yeah, I didn't see this quote until after I had watched it from Muschietti. I am inclined to believe him. Because that's how I felt watching the movie was, if you've seen the trailers, this isn't spoiling anything, but when he is using his speed force, we'll say.
Yeah.
Certain elements that are seen, everything seems to have that same coat of paint on it. It's not like there's certain elements that look really crisp and good, and then there's just things that just stand out and look odd. Everything looks odd.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that in other parts of this movie, the CGI still isn't shoddy, because there are other parts in this movie where everything does look good, and then there's one little odd thing that looks off.
Yeah.
There are definitely two for sure that I caught. There's probably more, maybe not, but where Ezra looks straight up plastic boy, CGI boy, and I don't understand.
I know which part you're talking about.
I think I understand why, because there's even a couple where it's not even both the Barrys are on scene. There's some where it's just our Barry or older Barry, and they still look CGI. So, but my hypothesis for that would be is this movie has gone through so many changes and other bullshit. It's probably Ezra came in, did audio work for it, and then they just CGI'd his face to lip sync what he said, what they said. That was my best guess.
I'll say
because I was like, he's they're the only Barry on screen right now. Why do they need to be CGI? And I'm like, well, probably because
I'll say this too, that hopefully it's a movie that they do some polishing up on that front, like how Marvel tries to do with their movies recently.
That'd be nice.
Hopefully they do some polishing up on that for when it does release. But yeah, anyways, to keep it non-spoilery for right now, I mean, that's just what I can say about it. And
Easter egg galore, nostalgia galore.
It-
It feels
oh,
like a
God,
giant.
yeah.
But what I will say is, as the Snyder cultist of the group, even
The
though
resident.
I don't really consider myself the cultist anymore. I moved on to acceptance. All right,
good.
but
You need to. It's happening.
And honestly, oddly enough,
Snyder's Anonymous over
I feel
here.
like honestly Snyder fans should watch this movie because I feel like this movie kind of, in a way, thematically, kind of ties into just accept things and
Yep.
let's move forward.
I agree with you that if you're a Snyder fan, you should see this and definitely ignore all the shitheads on the internet, which I mean Twitter, that sit here and want to trash this movie and say how it's not like Flashpoint at all. When, well, it's the Flashpoint of the universe Snyder created. So I get where people are coming from. If you're looking for true original Flashpoint, you're not gonna get it. There's nothing to do with Atlanteans and Amazonians in this movie. It's very different, but that's okay.
That's something that kind of bugs me too. It's just like, yeah, I get the story is definitely pulling heavy influence from Flashpoint, but the
But it's
motherfucking movie's not called Flashpoint.
It's just called
Like
The
a lot of
Flash.
some of you people on the internet wanted it to be called Batman Flashpoint because
Right.
of all the drama. It's just like, no, it's still just the Flash. It's not the
just
Flashpoint
The
or anything.
Flash.
It just takes inspiration from that.
It just because that's the most popular fucking Flash story. It's Flashpoint because it's cool because like he fucks time up.
Yep.
But overall,
But yeah,
I really
overall,
enjoyed
just-
it.
I think I
So
think
good.
like you said, the nostalgia feeling of Keaton being back as Batman was awesome, and yeah, I think everyone should.
I will
see it.
say, when that was first announced, I was really nervous about him coming back. I was really afraid he might just shoehorn it in. I should have known better.
So good.
I should have
So
known
good.
He
better.
was just- I was
When the
wa-
theme hits too, I'm like,
yeah,
So good.
like I said, yeah, I don't know the shot from the trailer, like where he's like you're the one Barry's freaking out. You're he's like yeah. I'm Batman, and like my theater erupted with claps and legitimately like the older generation behind me, just all of them, just yeah, and I'm like, I literally sat there and I was like, okay, I get it now, like how like that whole generation, like I get, yeah, that's your Batman, because I'll say this that I mean I probably would be the same way if it was Christian Bale,
right?
like I would.
Oh my
probably
god,
be,
if this was Christian Bale
Oh,
instead
yeah,
of Keaton,
shit.
dude.
yeah.
Oh,
Good God.
Yeah.
It
Like,
totally
I
break
don't
his
know.
universe.
So I was
swear.
like,
it would totally break his
and me as someone who like I just recently watched all the 90s Batman movies, so I just watched the two Burton ones. Like I said, I was like, okay, like I get it. You older millennials, you Gen Xers, that's your Batman. I get it. And honestly, like you said, you kind of had that fear just because of how old Keaton is, but it's like I don't know. It was like I just sat there. I was like, man, it's like he just recaptured it immediately.
He
just,
did. He was just right back
was,
in it.
He
So
was
good.
right back to the Bruce Wayne that he was.
The other one, he was all crazy haired and shit, and he jumped out of the fucking cabinet. That
Yeah.
shit. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Yeah, so you just want to get in the spoilers then, or?
Yeah, definitely recommend.
Yeah,
Oh,
just
yeah.
definitely, yeah, highly recommended.
All right, spoiler time. Zack Snyder's Justice League
Dude.
is canon, baby.
Is
Woo!
that was, yeah.
So happy. I was like, you know what? Screw it. This movie could be shitty. That's all I needed to hear after WB fucked up and said that it wasn't years
Right.
ago.
I love how he's like, I need a PB, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, yeah, what's that? And he just rattles it off. He's like, well, I'm supposed to be saving time here. And he's like, checking the watch is low energy. And speaking of that, a lot of this movie, I will say, as someone who's was never ever real familiar with everything Flash can do, I'm glad I did at least watch a handful of seasons of the CW Flash.
Yep. Phasing.
The phasing, the watching his calories.
Yep.
I love how much they embraced he needs to eat in this movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Constantly.
Constantly. I love it.
Oh
Dude, the
my
hospital
God.
scene is. I loved it.
Dude.
I loved it.
All right,
Dude,
I did too. And
Cracked the fuck up when he's like, you think he's going for the kid? And he moves it out of the way to, he's like, breaks the vending machine and just starts hogging chocolate down.
Chips and crackers
Yeah.
and shit.
Oh my God. We were all dying laughing in the
Yeah.
theater. Oh my God.
So good.
Dude, and that was so cool. He like pushes the one in the microwave and he's like,
Oh, the baby in the fucking.
and I love the attention to detail too, and he kind of circles back to it later, but I'll say like how he only touches things that can take like the electric charge.
Mhm.
Like he says like later, he's like, yeah, you can only like move certain things, like you can't. Because that's funny, because again, he's like, what'd you do? And he's like, well, I have to get you out of the way.
I
He
moved
goes,
you just a little bit. I moved you a little bit.
He's like, I moved you a little bit. He just. he
just kept vomiting. It was so
dude.
funny.
Oh my God. Dude.
Oh.
God. But back to it. I don't know. I do like how they, from the rip, they were just like, here's how it looks when he's gonna run.
I like the effect they did.
And he's like, yeah, he's doing the cheesy, like, run like that. Like, but it is cool, like, how, like, they're fucking zooming, like, everything around him past him. I was like, okay, I like how this is shot.
Dude, I knew from that moment it was going to be an entertaining as hell movie. Because I'm like, that's
When
the
he
shot
ran it,
everybody
and
wants.
when they actually had it, like, they had it where he runs across the water. I
yeah.
was like, okay, cool, they're doing this right.
Yeah.
I was like, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like how
Sweet.
it like warped and like zoomed right before he like takes. I was like, yeah, it's satisfying.
And so much emphasis on the stance too.
Yeah.
Every time, love that. That's always a thing
Mhm.
for any version of the Flash.
Yeah.
What is that character?
Wile E. Coyote. Yeah. No.
Or is it the mouse?
Speedy Gonzales.
Yeah,
Speedy
Gonzales.
Yeah, I've done.
I'm an idiot.
I get that a lot.
He's like, Speedy Gonzales. He's like, yeah, I've done it. Just boom. It's like,
And then, real quick, my favorite line of the whole movie, I think. Let's go, Barbie.
Let's go party.
he's all serious. Just let's go, Barbie, and the other one's like, let's go, party.
So random, but it was just so perfect too. I was just like,
I love Stoner Barry Allen. It was so funny. He kept going.
And that honestly, and that was like another reason why it was so fucking perfect, because that Barry was a shithead because he did grow up with his parents who probably spoiled him and helicoptered him, and you know he got to go off to college and he was a shithead.
Yep.
And like
your eyes are clear. I can see his eyes.
like Ben Affleck Bruce tried to tell him like, you are who you are because of what you lost, and you don't need to change it. And he's like, you could destroy everything, and he was like warning him, don't do this, like that's a lot of power to have. And like he told him like, you are who you are because of what you've lost. It's defined us. And and then it's funny because then like Barry like is literally seeking a friend, and Bruce, who's so fucking antisocial and doesn't want to have friends because he's weird, it's like, yeah, maybe another time, when it's like, jackass, like, if you just would have went and got pizza with him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I knew from the go of like when Bruce denied him, I was like, well, you fucked up. That's where you fuck up, because now you're not babysitting him to give him a friend that he needs. And
Right.
you know, then he calls his dad, talks to his dad, and the evidence is shit, and
Never looks up.
and two, when they here she comes.
Oh, there's the bodyguard.
She knew we
throw
were
that-
talking about her too.
Throw that big head around.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
The Batman, but him as Batman in the beginning. I mean, some of the shit that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I actually really really liked the beginning. Just thank God. We didn't get them all, but we got most of them together again. No Cyborg.
Yeah.
Yeah, you knew that. It's not a surprise that those two didn't come for a cameo.
It was pretty cool though,
Um,
them tracking them all down and finding out that their characters exist, but they're not quite who they are supposed to be yet.
I
Yeah.
love
That was sweet.
I love when she pulls him up with the rope and he's just got a shit cheese grin. He's like, "Hey."
Yeah, I actually like that too. I was
Everyone,
like, yes!
everyone chuckled and everyone's like, "Yes!" Like,
They belong together.
I know
Yeah.
I know what sex is, but I haven't experienced it yet. That's so funny.
I just love. He's like, really, I don't even know why I do this. Like, I have survivor's guilt. Like, he's like talking about having survivor's guilt. And he's like, I could just be like any other normal billionaire and give all my money away to charity. He's like, but instead I just do this and I don't really know why. And like, he won't shut up.
I can't thank another person.
Oh,
because I have too much ego.
I forgot. Yeah, he's like, he just looks at her and he's like, smiling. He's like, my ego's too big to thank another person.
Yeah,
and that's like when he notices and he just looks down and goes, oh yeah. He's like, he
Lasso
keeps-
truth.
keeps
Yep.
talking. Yeah, honestly, her cameo, because I was wondering when they were hanging, I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen? And when it was her cameo, I was like, cool. That
Yeah.
was cool.
And it wasn't as prominent of the
Thank God, jeez.
I about
It's like
looked
they
back at you and
heard-
been like, yep, they were listening.
It's like, yeah, it's like they heard us on here. It's like, thank God.
Yeah, it was subtle. Much
Yeah.
more subtle. And she showed some
Alright.
cheeks too. I was a little surprised at that. I was a little surprised that they did that.
I am as well, actually. I think that's actually it's
Wait,
one of
what
the last.
now?
She showed some cheeks, some
There were-
underbutt,
Yeah, there was.
Oh, I didn't catch it.
Uh-huh.
I literally didn't. catch it
Muschetti's
at
an
all.
ass man, apparently.
and it was.
I've been hearing the rounds that Muschetti's an
and,
ass
oh
man.
man, and it was panned down, and she was walking away, and you could see the underbutt. And
I
was like,
literally paid zero attention to that.
I was-
it's just who I am as a person.
I only paid attention
not a pervert.
to
I'm
it.
just Italian.
I just appreciate things. The gabagool.
I paid attention to it because usually gals very against sexualizing Wonder Woman. And that's
Yeah.
why like she did not like working with Whedon. And you
'Cause
could
he
tell in certain
sexualized her.
shots like he definitely goes a little under than Snyder did.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I kind of just paid attention to see how Muschietti handled it. And Muschetti's an ass man. I can tell ya.
It was glorious. I went, oh.
Because I was surprised. I was like,
Okay.
it's final
were
appearance,
you,
I guess.
Where you were talking about where there were scenes where it's like it's very crisp, but then you can kind of tell CGI. I thought at the end of that bridge moment that Batfleck looked a little shitty.
Batfleck.
Like it looked like, for one thing, it kind of looked like the whole Shazam thing, where that maybe was not filmed actually together. Like he was so stiff, like he's like kind of stiff, and he like kind of doesn't even look at Barry when Barry like is like, okay, yeah, whatever, see you later.
Maybe.
Like
Like-
he wasn't reacting to a real person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it just felt so fucking weird.
Off.
It
Yeah.
felt off, and it looked, and like I said, it looked like the cowl was completely CGI'd on
About
him.
to say something.
And I was like-
something was kind of wonky with his face in that scene. It
I
didn't-
was like,
I
that
was
looks
very
bad.
much getting Justice League vibes with Superman a little bit. I was like, what? Something did look a little off, but I was like, maybe in my head, I was like, maybe it's just the lighting.
Yeah.
Man.
Speaking of Superman, just so call Superman dealing with a volcano, and it just shows him he's just lasering shit. I was like, okay then.
Yeah, our last vision of Henry Cavill is a CGI. Fuck,
That's
man.
okay.
We thought the fucking Justice League was bad for a last appearance.
Dude, yeah. So when he gets in the fucked up,
No, Black Adam's the last appearance. Okay.
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
True.
the
Yeah, fuck. That is one of the major bummers for me. Is no Cavill, which he filmed a scene for this movie. And that's what actually pisses me off more than anything.
I'll say this.
They showed him at the end, didn't they?
No,
I thought they showed him in one of the worlds.
you see all the other ones.
I thought a lot of people cheered when his
Fuck,
came up.
you see one that you wouldn't even know.
A lot of
You
people
see
cheered
one-
when Nick Cage's showed up.
Oh,
I was
know.
gonna say-
Superman still lives or
Uh,
something like that, or what was that supposed
Yeah,
to be?
Superman
It was
lives.
supposed to
Lives,
be
yeah.
called Superman Lives.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's one that I'm like, all right, whatever. that one's total fan service.
That's a deep cut right there.
Right. That one is like,
that didn't even get made, did it?
No.
No, it was
There's a documentary on
The
why
Death of Superman Lives is what it's called.
There's a there's a documentary on it that was made in 2015 on why it never got made. And it basically never got made because Mars Attacks tanked. And Burton did that one, so Warner Brothers was like, "Get the fuck out of here, dude!"
And I love Mars Attack.
That movie's hilarious.
I love it.
It's very underrated.
I know it's a cult classic.
That movie actually like scarred me as a small child.
Really?
Yeah.
I
think it was their fucking eyes, dude.
Oh,
yeah, they are weird. But anyway, yeah.
I love that movie. I'll watch it right now.
I
love it.
I haven't seen that in a long time. But it's funnier in how. It's funny as shit. They breathe heavy on the glass, and the two are having sex in the trailer. Like, like it's so fucking weird. Like, God,
it's so good.
Anyways, that reference, I was kind of waiting to bring that up, just because it's at the very end of the movie. But yeah, like, that's the one I told a coworker. I said, there's a reference in there. I said that unless you're a fucking just diehard comic nerd DC person, you're gonna see that and be like, what the hell? Like, you aren't gonna know what that is.
Yeah.
Like,
not at all.
As soon as it showed the spiders and I saw the long hair, I was like, get the fuck out of here.
I just always think of that GIF, the send, when he's got his face like that and the hair is blowing. I just fucking thought of that immediately when I saw him. I was like, God damn it.
Yeah, for those that don't know.
Oh, God,
especially with the story about the spider. Kevin Smith has a long-running story about when he was brought on to write that movie, or a Superman movie, which eventually turned into that one that didn't come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
One of the producers,
he wanted like that, right?
Yeah, like I think one of his guarantees was he had 3 promises that he had to hold to, which was, I think, change the suit if I remember right. He can't fly, and he has to fight a giant spider in the 3rd act.
But he was flying in that cameo.
He was in the cameo, because fuck that producer, because that movie never got made, and that producer went on to make Wild Wild West with Will Smith, and what does that movie end with? A giant spider. So he got a spider in the end.
That's fucking funny. I'll be damned if I don't get my spider.
I don't have my spider.
I hope you know.
God.
That's fucking funny.
So yeah, extra awesome they threw the spider in there.
Let's get back into the bulk of the movie though before you jump to the fucking end and the cool ass cameos. Which I didn't see coming all that, but anyways.
But yeah, I really enjoyed the beginning with all the remnants of the Justice League that we have anyway.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of people say that it felt like the old cartoons.
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree.
It's what it felt like, and I liked that about it. I liked how, and some people even pointed out it was surprised they didn't make like a big deal about them all like being together on screen like they would for like a Marvel like team up shot or something like that. And it's like, well, I feel like that's kind of the point. It's like it's not supposed to feel like a big deal. It's supposed to feel normal. Like they do. It's just a daily thing for them.
I'm the janitor of the Justice League. I'm always cleaning up. It's like somehow I'm always cleaning up Batman's mess.
I've basically accepted that I'm the janitor of the group, which I'm fine with. But the problem I have is, why am I always cleaning up Bruce's mess? Or something so like that. Funny. That was so good.
So good.
But now back to the it's very interesting that he didn't witness why his mother has a knife in her chest.
Yeah, I thought about that. Because when he recalls, or when he goes back, didn't he somehow see it and he just blocked it out, and they blocked it out or something from his memory, but he actually witnessed more details?
He was in his room, he ran down the stairs, she was stabbed.
Well, I know in the movie, but I thought in the series it elaborates on that a little bit more.
What series? What do you mean?
I think he's talking about the TV show.
Yeah. The CW, Eobard does it. Reverse Flash ran so fast he runs back in time to do it to make sure that Flash is created.
And in the comics.
That's
in
right.
the comics.
That's
That's
how
how
I
it
knew there
goes.
was something weird.
That's
that
how it
happened.
always goes in the comics. Is Reverse Flash, like, is the catalyst that ensures the Flash actually gets created.
Yeah.
And then Flashpoint happens because Barry stops him.
I remember that.
And then Barry then has to then stop himself from stopping him, so he corrects the timeline. And the CW does essentially the same thing.
Yeah, that I knew for sure.
Because, like, he creates Flashpoint, so then he runs back in time and he catches himself before himself is about to stop falling.
That's what I was thinking about.
He catches himself and he's like, he looks at himself and he goes, don't do it. And then his other self is like basically accepts it, and then everything gets put back into place.
That's what I was thinking about. I knew I was like, something.
This movie, again, it leaves it open for who stabbed her.
I'd say, yeah, don't get that answer at all. Not even remotely.
I think that was done on purpose because of this whole apparent possible sequel script. Like, part of me wonders, like, okay, was the sequel maybe going to introduce the Thawne was the one that did it?
I was hoping so.
But yeah, so you never actually, you do never see it, but then it's funny, because then the Dark Flash, like, punches him out of the chronosphere. He's, like, running forward, and he's, like, looking and seeing all the memories, and he's, like, so happy, and then all of a sudden, like,
rips open.
just rips it open. I was like, oh, shit, and he's just, like, punches him out of it. I was like, oh, shit,
Dude,
dude.
I was going to say, what evil version of Flash is this? That's what my first thought was. I was
Well,
like,
you're not wrong. That's usually how it goes.
I know. I know.
Still, it turns out the bad guy's yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
yep,
it's like
exactly.
9 times out of 10. Just
Yep.
no. Not always, but
And this one still holds true,
Yeah.
to an extent.
but yeah, I loved how the other version of him. He's having dinner and he's just in the middle of it. He's like looks out and he just sees himself and he's like doing that dumb shit, and he just goes, oh shit.
I want to go
He's
back.
like, I have to take a shit outside.
Yeah, I was outside.
I want to go back and rewatch that part. Apparently, because obviously it takes heavily influence from Back to the Future. They even reference that movie in this. I guess when
Several
young
times.
Barry is walking up, apparently he like swings his sleeve the same way that young Marty does in Back to the Future too.
Okay.
When he
Oh
sees it.
shit!
And
That's
I was
fun.
like,
That's
fuck!
awesome.
I was like, I need to go back and look and see if that's true because that's quite a cool Easter egg if that's the
Yeah,
case too.
That's
that
sweet.
is.
I like when Gary on the couch. You're talking about BTTF?
Yeah, BTTF. When he said that, I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's fucking.
And then, like, all the actors are, for every movie he starts rattling off, the main actor was cast different.
Yeah, so
And then Tom Cruise just was never a thing.
Yeah, ironic that he likes this movie apparently.
Yeah, that was hilarious that, like,
Yeah.
they're like going through it and they're like, yeah, who's Tom Cruise? Like, it was just, Tom Cruise was never a thing. I was like, that's hilarious.
I like love that Easter egg too, just because the Back to the Future movies are some of my favorite movies. Period. So the fact that they have the little Easter egg in there that Patrick Swayze is actually the one that starred because he was actually the original one cast as Marty McFly
That's
and
dope.
filmed like most of the movie, and they were just like, "This ain't working," and that's when they went and got
Never knew
Michael
that.
J. Fox. Yeah, that's why.
That's
once
cool
again,
as hell.
deep cut. There's some deep cut Easter eggs in this, and like, oh,
That's dope.
Yeah.
so then yeah, you
I
figure
was
that out. So
wondering-
then
I
Michael
was
J. Fox
wondering
is
what-
in Footloose, they
Yeah,
said, and
that's
then
it,
Kevin
yeah.
Bacon is in Top Gun. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah.
that's what it was.
I was
Kevin
like,
Bacon.
so awesome.
She goes, oh,
Yeah,
bacon.
I was sitting there when they were rattling all that. I just sat there. I was like, I feel like these are like some deep. You got to be into movie lore and nerd shit to like know that
fully
stuff.
appreciate the lines.
Yeah.
Yeah. The placement.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
good. So good, dude.
So good.
So good.
So he tackles him. They go. He speeds him upstairs.
Then he-
Whoa, this is trippy. No, this is catastrophic.
He's like, no, this is catastrophic.
Do the thing. Do the thing. Makes him a little pillow fort.
Yeah.
Sees that his. I think that's when he sees that the monkey toy is on the dartboard.
Is on
the
dartboard,
So that
yeah.
kind of like pisses him off. Obviously.
Yeah. Because this
Um,
is after he's, or no, yeah, This is after, like, essentially, because he freaks out and he's like, "What day is it?" Because the storm starts, and he tells him, and he's like, "This is the day I got my powers.
This is the day of our origin."
Right? Yeah, and he's like freaking out because he thinks like, okay, if you don't get your powers, then I'll lose mine.
Yeah,
and then like,
although no, that would not be true according to these rules.
Not like the Sketty.
But that's why he said maybe I won't get my powers.
He said maybe I won't get my powers, and then they do the damn thing. Well, then he loses his powers, and then the other one gets in. Shit, that was so funny. Just the giant cloud of smoke off in the distance, and he comes back, and he's just got a pot over his crotch, and he just wiggles over, and he's just, "What did you do?" And he's, Nothing.
Clothes caught on fire.
He's like, "Yeah, that's friction. You move too fast, you burn your clothes off."
Phase through the floor, and that fucking girl screams. I lost it.
Yeah, when he's like, "Oh, phasing? No, you can't do that yet." And like, just you gotta vibrate your molecules, and he just focuses and just falls through the floor.
Scream.
He's just.
Later, when he talks about it, he's like, and I'm probably gonna have to move.
Right.
He's like freaked out.
Dude, hilarious when they go to the precinct though, and like the second time that like they have to sneak into that room, like the way that he just plops into his arms was hilarious. Like just gracefully, just.
And the foreshadowing to Batman when he.
I know that's. I like that. How was a running gag? No.
He's grabs him. He's like, "Okay." So funny.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And then dude, that was so funny when he's just like, you're like way older than the Bruce I had in my universe. And he's like, well, yeah. He's like, you change. He's like, you don't just change to the future. He's like, you change the past too. And like, I thought that breakdown, like the way they did that, like in the Two Spaghetti, was kind of cool. Like how he's like, no, he's like, you'd think it would run like this, and it's gonna just bend a little. And he goes, no, that's not how it works. And he does like this whole like, no, you create this whole other line of time, and it's so funny. And then as he's getting into it, he goes, and then you make this, and he plops the spaghetti into the bowl and goes, a lot of parallels, but not perfect. He's like,
but there's guaranteed crossover.
I like how there was even like a little Endgame reference in there too. He's like, you've probably seen that time works like this, and they basically explain how Endgame does it.
Yeah,
like, but that's not how it works. I was like,
yeah. Oh yeah, the bend in the spaghetti. Yeah, when he bends the spaghetti, that's how that is how the Ancient One explained it to Bruce, and he's like, yeah, that's not how it works, and. Yeah, okay.
So I thought that was kind of cool. It was
really
like,
catch that, yeah.
I was like, all right, cool. We like gave a little nod to Marvel, but we're also establishing, but hey,
not the same rules.
Like, we're gonna be a little different here.
Yeah,
that's how it does it here.
Yeah. Shit, man. And then they sprinkled in some Red Sun plot. I was like, oh.
A little bit. Little dash there.
Dash-a-rooney of it. So the Red Sun is Superman lands in Russia instead of Kansas.
The Soviet Union.
So, like, the fact that not only did they decide, well, Kara's going to show up first, but also she landed in Russia, I was like, oh, that's a little Red Sun element there. I mean, that's, like, call back to, like, that whole thing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, when they I think one of the hardest points I laughed in the movie is when they're in that silo and he keeps knocking shit over. Every fucking move he makes.
Dude, I loved when they first go down and they get at the bottom and he knocks some shit over and it's just the shovel and it's just loud as shit and everyone looks and they're both just like two frozen raccoons just sitting there like
because he ran into that barrel first and then he tries to move it and he goes don't and then he hits that fucking thing and knocks it over. He moves his leg again and knocks it over the rest of the way. Like, just
still absolutely hilarious. What'd you do? I moved you like a little bit. God. Oh my god. Projectile bomb. Like you said, it just went on. Like it just kept going. But the stylized fighting with Keaton's Batman was just crazy fucking sick.
Oh, dude. The kicks into the fucking wall.
I love too how he's like, where's your parachute? And he just smiles at him and drops himself out and he just does the flying. I was like, God, yes, that is So awesome.
Do the Batmobile in this one, the classic.
Yeah, you just don't get to see it in action, but it
Yeah.
is cool to see.
Dude, we get to see the new and improved Batwing though.
That's yeah, we do get the new Batwing.
I like how the wings, like, I don't know if it's like just the wings or if both of them can spin, but like when he's like doing the spinning shit, but his cockpit
It's the
almost
whole
cockpit stays
the
level.
cockpit stays.
I was
it's the
like-
whole thing.
I was like, oh,
spins.
shit.
The fuselage or whatever right in the middle stays the same while the rest of that's dope.
I thought that was sick.
That was sick as shit.
So
I
cool.
thought it was funny too when after Batman drops out and our Barry, who no longer has his powers, he's like all kind of nervous about it, and then it like drops one more. He's like, "Oh, there's levels to this," and then all of a sudden it was like, drops him out.
Yeah.
I'm usually more of I like the Snyder. I like the more serious take, the Nolan takes.
I just felt like
the Matt Reeves, I'm not usually super big on humor. It's not my style or what my choice personally would be. But I actually liked a lot of the humor in this movie. I felt like a lot of it hit and was like actually kind of well thought out.
I was gonna say because it was well thought out and it was well placed. It wasn't forced into you.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why it was good.
I feel like actually they found a really
You're obnoxious and you're annoying and oh my god,
I know what
now
I'm saying.
now I get it about myself. And
Yes!
when people tell me,
like I love how they had
like-
self-referential jokes like that too
Yeah.
about how people thought Barry was annoying in the first Justice League movie. Like that whole like younger version is a play on that and how Barry has gotten older now and he's more mature. So now he doesn't have to be that annoying anymore, but he can still help this Barry grow, but he himself can still grow. They made fun of his run that everybody when he loses his powers and he goes to run for the first time, he's just running in a circle,
funny.
just
The
doing his
Scott
little
Eagle.
like
he goes, it's just. He's like, I'm slow.
Yeah.
Shit.
I liked when he did the mental health.
that.
Plug
Oh
on
my! Thank
himself.
you for bringing that up.
Oh,
What is
I
Yes,
love
the
it.
mental health line.
So he goes, he's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
right after the hospital, and he's like, mental health is very important. You should go talk to somebody. And he goes, he's like, because Justice League, they haven't really come very far with that. Take it
Yeah,
from me.
yeah.
I
I
really
would
figured
know.
that part
Yeah.
out. Quite
I
yet.
was like,
He's like, we haven't really
that was
figured.
perfect.
Yeah, I was like,
He's like,
I
we
really
haven't really
figured it out.
figured that out yet.
Yeah, I was like,
that line
perfect
hits a
dig on yourself.
little different now than it would have originally.
Yep,
Damn, yeah, didn't even think of that.
yep.
But it's still a funny line in the end because of just how, like all superheroes, how traumatizing all of their lives
Yeah.
are, and how much shit they go through.
Yep. Today's a very traumatic experience. It's so funny. Oh my god.
But yeah, they finally get in. Yes, the action with Keaton was.
Awesome.
It's
So
so cool to see him fight in a way that we just didn't have the technology or know how to do back when he was obviously making the movies when he was younger. It was really cool. I almost.
good.
It's obviously no warehouse scene, but it's got nice little hints of it that remind me. I'm like,
Dude,
I
I love
Dude,
like
just getting crunched into
I
the
love when
pillar.
they when-
Just crunched. I'm like,
dude,
yeah.
and I love to like. There is still the dark element to this where like obviously like fuck justice in this like dude she was launching motherfuckers. I was like oh yes like when she got out and she was just launching dudes like out into the fucking horizon
And they're screaming.
yeah they're like screaming. I'm like yes, yeah.
This is what I want.
I've seen complaints about that too. I'm
Oh.
like, oh, how does
Fucking Jesus Christ.
Kara
Surprise,
automatically come out and know how to fight when Henry had to like
Well,
struggle
she
and be?
didn't forget.
And here's my
Well,
answer.
and again-
Exactly, because she never forgot. Because
God.
and granted, I can never remember this, but I know she's. Point being, she's sent to be the protector of Cal.
Yeah,
So-
she's trained to fight on Krypton before it explodes.
So she's
Yeah,
also.
she was a
so-
fucking fully capable fighter.
I always seem to forget this,
I
but
feel-
she is obviously older than Cal, correct? It's not some weird
uh,
time thing that.
Well, so how it goes is that when Krypton's exploding, she's like 16 years old or some shit, and he's an infant. They both are put on separate pods and they're ejected. However, she like always hits debris, and then her ship goes off course, or she gets knocked into the Phantom Zone with Zod and all them. There's multiple different origins to it. But it's usually like her pod's knocked off course by a couple decades, and like she shows up way later after Clark has been Clark and he's been Superman for a hot minute. So then he ends up being older. And that's why usually in iterations, like you'll see where Kara comes to Earth, and since she was like already like a young adult and she remembers what life was like on Krypton, that's why it's harder for her to accept what Earth is and fit in. And she's like, she views humans initially first. She's like, yeah, they're all stupid. This is a very like non-advanced civilization.
Look at these bunch of gorillas.
And yeah,
mindless.
And Clark's
apes.
Clark's like, you got to learn to live with it. And she always like makes comments like, I am technically older than you. Like,
I'd say that's why.
Like she always kind of says that, but it doesn't mean shit because again, well, you were, but you're not anymore.
Yeah, right.
You're like,
right.
But like.
That's where it's like, yeah, kind of confusing. Is when they shipped off, she is older, but by the time she actually gets there, she's no longer.
And again, obviously, it's a little taken from the Red Sun stuff, and you can also think too that like, well,
it's also from Flashpoint too, because in Flashpoint, Superman is held underground
by U.S. government. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just instead of the U.S., it's Russia now. Like,
yeah.
So there's the hint of Red Sun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, it's exactly. It's like, it's not like she forgot how to fight.
Yeah, that's kind of how I
didn't
even think twice about that.
And it took the whole movie for her to use her fucking eyes, and she only did it because she was so pissed off.
Yeah.
So, it's not like she was OP, knew how to use every single power she had from the get-go.
She
just figured out, like, oh, I can fly real fast, and I'm really fucking strong and fast.
And she got up in the sun.
Now that you've alluded to the scene where she gets pissed off and use her eyes. For those that did watch and you listened to the extra potential spoiler section of the leaks were correct. This whole movie was online like a year ago.
Oh my god.
Not video, just what happened. But they did the thing I was nervous that they were going to keep in, and they actually confirmed that they killed, which I get. Seeing it actually in the movie, I was like, oh yeah, it's not that big of a deal. It's a multiverse story. It makes sense. Yeah, they killed Baby Kal-El, confirmed by Zod himself.
Yeah.
Baby Kal.
Because they thought he had the Codex when in that universe, like she had the Codex in her.
Now that we're kind of talking about her though, what was since you're a big Supergirl fan more than I have, I just haven't read a lot of Supergirl comics. What'd you think?
Dude, I thought it was great. Like, especially like the way that it worked in the story. And I like too how she at first, like, she tells the other Barry that she's like, from what I've seen from you humans, you're not worth saving. And she's like kind of fine with the Kryptonians, but then obviously when she flies to see which Kryptonians they are, and then they just start massacring humans, she's like, okay, well, wait, we're not like that though. She's like, wait, we're not supposed to be that though either. That's like why it's like, again, if you know shit about Supergirl, it's like, well, again, she was 16 or whatever on Krypton, so like obviously like she probably saw the whole Zod throwing a coup when the planet was blowing up, so she knows how much of a bastard he and his people are. So she, like, her thought was probably like, oh, we'll peacefully move you off this planet and we'll put you somewhere else. Is my thought on that. Like, yeah, they didn't outright say it to you, but I assume her thoughts were like, well, we're still a peaceful people. We will terraform your planet, but we'll move you off of it, like, to somewhere else. Like,
till he waxes that...
Yeah.
Dude in the military.
So he waxes all the military people, and she's like, no, and then they see her, and she's like, okay. And then just helps the other Flash, or other Barry, the main Barry, get his powers back.
That was a cool
I loved
moment.
how he's like, he's just not doing anything. And then the other Barry's just, I got this, and a bullet goes through his knees.
Oh my god.
He's like, you didn't tell me we can get shot. He's like, why would you think that we couldn't get shot? So good. So good.
So good. He's like, dude, stop screaming. It's fine. You'll heal. And he's just, oh my god.
Yeah, dude, I love when another one of their interactions when he's about to get electrocuted, and he's like, he's on board with it. He's like, just for the record, I think this is insane.
Yeah.
Shit's so funny.
Oh, just because I forgot, I did like the callback of when Keaton was first introduced. They did a callback of, well, both Justice Leagues technically, but when Barry first meets Batfleck and he throws the Batarang and it like freezes him. Except this time it's a frying pan.
Yeah, it's the frying pan. He's just dodging it.
Yeah,
that was good.
So funny.
Yeah,
and then also
Forgot
just
about that
real
callback,
quick,
yeah.
since I kind of teased it earlier, the two moments that for sure confirmed the Snyder Cut is canon is one when he's talking to Batfleck before he takes off and he's talking about how you could destroy everything. He talks about how you can go back into time. They allude to the fight in Russia when he turns back time. That only happens in the Snyder Cut. And also two when he talks to Iris West in the beginning.
That only happens in the Snyder Cut.
When he turns back time, he doesn't turn back time in the Justice League Cut.
I thought he did, but all right.
No, in the Justice League Cut, he gets sent off to go push people in a truck. The random stupid family that got randomly. Fucking movie.
Yep, we got it, bud. We're all there with you.
The other one is when he is talking to Iris in the beginning, and he said something alluding to the fact of like last time I've seen you since college, and she says something that alludes to like I felt like I saw you not that long ago.
Yeah.
And that's obviously alluding to the scene
when
he saves her.
That Iris, so the Snyder Cut's canon, Okay. I didn't even think of that, but I did catch that when she's like, but I think we've seen each other recently.
Recently, yeah.
I sat there and I was like, oh yeah, because he saves her, but I forgot that that is not in the Justice Cut either. Cool. But yeah, no, I thought Kara was awesome.
I wanted to ask you just because when I'm just thinking about it, like if somebody asked me, it's just like honestly, I don't know if I could give you an answer.
Dude, it's just
because she's not in the movie enough for me. Like I was kind of let down for me a little bit. She's not in it very long.
Well, shit, the movie goes on for an hour before Keaton even shows up.
Yeah.
If you notice that.
Yeah.
Like, which isn't a problem because honestly, I was having so much fun with it. I was like, I don't care.
Yeah, same.
There's a lot of building going on before that.
But yeah, I mean, she really is not in a lot of the movie. And then for what she is in, I mean, it's mainly heavy CGI of her fighting Zod. It's like, but I loved it though, because like, I mean, dude, she just wrecks. I mean, obviously it was all like he was allowing it essentially, but I mean, she's like wrecking his shit. I was like, it's awesome
with the fucking pipe,
dude. Yeah,
and I was like, Jesus God.
Tries to stab him in the face with it, dude. I was like, hell
yeah.
More of that.
For what little I did see though, I did like I would. I don't think we're going to, but I would like to see more
of her.
Yeah,
you never know.
It'd be interesting, but I don't know if we will.
She could be, because what did he call himself? Like so, again, as they fight Zod and his army, and they realize how like that world is doomed to always lose. Like how Keaton was saying, it was like a fated event.
Mm-hmm.
Like no matter what, and no matter like how many times they tried to like run back to change it, like it was always gonna happen.
Just an inevitability. It's a fixed point.
It's a fixed point. I loved how, and I honestly like as soon as like when they do it the first time and the shard of the suit or gets in him,
mm-hmm.
and it's like the Kryptonian shit, and then he fucking murders that chick, which I was like, that is so brutal and awesome. Like, the way that he he just fucked her up.
Dude, when he did his arm down like that, and it was like sticking out, and they made him like the prominent shot. And I was like, oh.
As soon I will say, like that's the thing is like it was immediate right there. Like once that got in him, I was like, okay, it's the Dark Flash is him. Mm-hmm. I was like, just a future version. I knew it was coming.
When he had it stuck in his back, that was the first thing I noticed is there wasn't the armor. It wasn't armor because it was uneven. So I saw when he came back after a couple passes. One was sticking out of his back. I was like, all right, man.
That's what it is. It's like the version of himself that kept doing that, like ran back millions of times, and he's like
More than you could ever dream.
He's
he's
like, I've lived longer than you have dreamed or something. Like, that's the whole thing. It's like, yeah, he's infinitely old because he kept going back trying to, and that's like why he has the fucking weirdo like armor that he has.
I was actually curious because I mean we'd seen the toy leaks and stuff like that. I was like, how are they gonna turn him into looking like that? Is it just they just not gonna do it or whatever? But I thought it was cool that they kind of gave a reason as to how he turns like that. It's literally just shards of Kryptonian metal just shoved into his fucking body.
Yeah. And I was just curious too on like how is it a version of Barry and it made sense like, oh, it's because he's trying to save it. It's the one from that universe that's trying to save his world, and like again it's the same problem. He's like, well, I want to save Mom.
Yep.
And unfortunately Mom dying is an inevitability. It's a finite point.
Yep.
And he's like I've almost got the answer. And then like the multiverse opens up, and dude, that was trippy. I just remember watching it and like, because isn't the very first one the George Reeves?
Yeah, Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I was like, I saw that and I was like, it's all like black and white, and I was like, what the fuck? And then like,
was it Christopher Reeves the one with it?
Christopher Reeves is the one where it was blacked out, and then
Yeah.
And then the can't remember her name, but then the Supergirl, which that's actually, was that a TV show? That was a TV show.
It was a movie that bombed horribly.
Oh,
Christopher Reeves was actually supposed to be in that movie, and then he apparently read the script and was like, no. So it's kind of cool because those characters never were actually seen on screen together.
But they were supposed
to exist in the same world and universe. Yeah.
Okay.
So
that
finally got to see
cooler.
them together in a way.
And then the Nick Cage. And then Adam
West, Batman.
Adam West, Batman. And honestly, as they were doing that, I sat there and I'm like, all right, come on. Show Bale. Like, show fucking Pattinson. Like, show me.
Yeah. All encompassing.
It's like, I just sat there and I'm like, well, okay, why are you only showing Batman? And like this it even says here, like in this article that I pulled up, I've been waiting to talk about it until we got to this part. He had alternate versions. He had a version where he was going to do Linda Carter, and he was going to do, is it Marlon Brando's Zor-El? From Richard Donner? Marlon Brando, Zor-El, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was going to have him show in one, and then, like, a third one that, Cesar Romero as Joker. Which, again, it's like, well, why didn't you just show something of Romero and West in the same shot? Like,
Yeah.
The one missing that actually really, really hurts more than anything is no Grant Gustin. That actually, like,
especially because
really,
they did it in the show.
I know, that's why it hurts. Like, they did it for the TV show. It's like, why not bring him back for, like, come on, man. And then they kind of fucked up the Jay Garrick one, too. That's because that's not actually Jay Garrick in the show. Because the original Flash ends up being the Jay Garrick from Earth 2, Shipley.
Right.
So they should have actually gotten him to come. It would have made him 100 times more sense if it would have been him.
Apparently that was like the Hunter Zolomon variant of Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He basically poses as like a good speedster, and then he turns out evil. He's not even the real Jay Garrick. So
shit.
Somebody put out. I think I saw a tweet that was like, I'm pretty sure somebody from this movie just Googled Jay Garrick Flash and just took a clip from the Flash.
Hunter Zolomon always turns out to be Zoom, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Most of the time, yeah. Even though there's different iterations where sometimes Thawne is.
Sometimes it's Barry.
Sometimes it's Barry. And if you watch the CW show, you get fucking every single version of it.
It's basically always Barry.
Yeah.
It's always Barry.
It's always Barry. The chronosphere of the one running, and it's like, that's Solomon. I was like, oh, okay. And I sat there and I kind of, like that one, I saw that and I was like, why didn't you just do the guy from the Earth 2, the 90s show that's in the CW Flash too, as that Jay Garrick. It's like, why didn't you just do that one?
Yeah, that was the Jay Garrick.
And why wasn't
really
Ryan Reynolds there as Green Lantern?
That would have been awesome.
The biggest disappointment.
That would have been awesome, actually.
Yeah.
How did you guys feel about? So this was the kind of the main scene I was talking about, where everything seems like it has the same coat of paint on it.
Yeah, so I don't.
It
mind
felt like
the
an
CGI.
artistic choice.
Yeah.
Do I agree with said artistic choice? No.
No, because it does on its face look bad.
Yeah,
and that's why the movie, like, people are shitting on it, like, oh, the CGI's terrible. It's like, but when you explain it like this, it's like, well, and your point, that's a nice way to explain it, is like, well, if you notice, like, it's the whole thing's done that way.
It's like literally everything.
Like
so
you said,
I do believe
Same
Muschietti
medium.
when he says that, like, yeah, when he's like in the Chrono Bowl or certain points of the Speed Force, like, it does seem more intentional because everything has that filter, we'll say, on it. But like, yes, there are definitely still shoddy CGI spots where I'm like, whew,
again,
that sticks out compared to everything else.
There's a point when they're going to the fight in the jet, and he's like, it's the two Ezras, the two Barrys, and they're sitting next to each other. You can totally tell
Which one, yeah.
The one is the real him, and then the other one just looks like it's like his neck looks completely plastic.
And forehead too. If you
How goddamn funny is it that they made fun of the bat suit, and when he turns, his head's turning in the mask, and the mask doesn't turn because you can't move the neck. We died at
ripped
that.
it off at once.
Yeah, in the theater, everyone died at that. I was like, yes, that's perfect.
Dude, everybody erupted when he was sawing the ears off.
Yeah.
Lost
Dude,
it.
yeah.
It's like he took care of everything real quick, and then he gets the ears, and it's like...
What are we wearing? I love that when he gets up, he's like, what are we wearing?
He's like, what are we wearing? Just like, painted it, man.
It's got caution tape around all the joints and shit.
I kept our color scheme.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
so funny. He's got spray painted bolt over the bat sign.
That's the other thing is, like, even before this movie came out, there's just like people were like dogging on young Barry's like suit from like screenshots. It's like, do you not understand what the fucking suit is? It's literally a spray painted bat suit. It's gonna look like shit.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to look good.
18-year-old Barry's best work.
Dude, so funny.
Put a little sticker on there. Good job.
Good job.
I like how he's like, I'm gonna show our kids one day, and he's like, our kids? he's just like, I mean, just kids in general, and like, she like looks back, because it's like she totally heard him. I just loved that. Oh, man.
So many good parts, dude.
I do like how there's just kind of this running gag of Barry just always falls head over heels over like almost every attractive female that he runs into. It's like Wonder Woman, Supergirl, still got his thing for Iris.
Yeah.
As he should. That's one you should pay attention to.
Well, because even in the CW era,
even
it's funny because even in the CW Arrowverse, they fucking allude to it too. Like, I think in the CW Arrowverse, in the Supergirl universe, like, Supergirl, all her friends and family talk, are like, dude, you should date this guy. And, like, she's like, no, he lives in a different universe. And, like, that's the thing. It's always a running thing with Flash that, guys, I lost my shit laughing at the very end. The very end. That was
are we going to the end now?
I mean, do you want to just...
We'll just lead up to it. We're almost at the end anyway.
So, like, essentially
the Dark Flash comes back.
Oh, the Dark Flash comes back, and then it's... Yeah, I mean... Yeah, and then what's crazy is, like, he comes back... It's kind of just funny, because it's like, well, dude, bro, if, like, you've been traveling and you can see all of time, then how'd you not anticipate you're going to see yourself? Anyways, whatever.
Because he anticipated the first time he saw him. Why not?
Yeah.
That's weird.
So wait, what now? You're confused. Who's seen what?
It's just like the Dark Flash when he comes back and he's like explaining to them, and like they're watching the worlds collide of the multiverse. He's like, I've almost got the solution to the equation. And then he just, I think, doesn't he repeat himself again to him? He says, like, some things just can't be solved, and that's, like, what...
Kind of connects.
Or no, that's when the Dark Flash, like, he says to the real, like, the original Barry, he's like, you're the constant. He's like, you're a constant. You're a, you're the whatever he talked about that.
The fulcrum.
A fulcrum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you're always you. Like, you don't ever look different or anything. It's like, you're a fulcrum individual. And he's like, goes to stab him, and then the other version of himself jumps in front to save him, because, like, he didn't want him to die either.
Which
and
basically
then,
makes it all right again.
Yeah, because essentially his older self killing his younger self means that his older self never happens.
Yep.
So, yeah. So then that's why it all unfolds and goes back, because now real Barry fixes it.
And then, but almost fixes it.
Yeah, which I will
Moves
say,
the tomatoes to another shelf.
I really like how they handled the scene of Barry going back to his mom.
Yeah, that was excellent.
Yeah,
definitely got the emotions going. I thought it was handled. I like how. So in the comics, if I remember right, I'm pretty sure he either comes out and tells her everything, or she just straight up recognizes him. I got the hint that she actually still recognized who.
That's what I thought too,
because
she looked at him and it changed immediately.
Yeah, and I really liked that part about that. I thought it was really well done. I was very happy.
Yeah,
I was going to be going into this movie. I told you guys, like, if I don't tear up at the end, the movie sucked.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't live up to the story that it was pulling inspiration from. And
yeah,
I definitely teared up. It worked.
Yeah, and Ezra Miller, they said that his performance was more emotional than he's put forth before, because they said it was an impressive performance, and I was kind of excited for it. And he delivered, I thought.
Ezra, I guess that's kind of the thing we haven't talked about yet, and I agree. I think Ezra did a great job.
Yeah.
Like seeing these two different Barrys, like they truly feel like two different characters, and that's a feat.
Yeah,
that is a true acting feat.
And he said like the one is old and mature and wise, and then the other one's a
stoner Barry.
Stoner that's a spoiled brat.
Mm-hmm.
That's what actually kind of like kind of a hot spicy take, I guess. Could be freezing cold, I guess, later. I honestly think that if there wasn't any of all this drama surrounding Ezra, don't think they would win. But I think there would definitely be conversations of him being in at least nominations for like a Best Actor award for this.
Oh yeah, if he didn't have the issues he had, then yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, probably.
So that's just kind of depressing to think about in the end, because it's like, well,
yeah,
DC could at least have that feather in their cap. But
and dude, honestly, and that's the thing too, is that Barry, I hated that Barry from. Ezra's Barry, I hated it. Hated it, not just because of what he's done or all of his history. I just didn't like the interpretation of the character, and now I do.
Yeah, I was gonna say this movie kind of redeems the interpretation of the character, because I never really ever cared for it, even in that movie.
Yeah, I didn't at all.
Yeah, but this movie kind of
totally redeemed yourself.
Yeah, that moment was pretty. Yeah, it was sad.
It was good. It was excellent.
It was good. It was well done. And he goes back, and then the obviously goes to the court case for his dad.
That was so cool.
The dad, I was like, because when he looks up in the store, I was like, oh, well, what's gonna catch his face, and he's gonna fuck himself.
That's what I thought.
That's where I thought it was gonna go.
Me too. I said, here we go again.
Yeah, and then like it gets to it, and it's like, no, he moved all the cans of tomatoes up, so his dad would have to go like this. Mm-hmm. So like, perfect. It's well like, done. He makes the finite thing still happen, but he at least gets a win. What he would probably deem as like, well, I can change this one small thing, and it'll be like, this would actually probably be fine.
Until
didn't learn your lesson, did you, Barry?
Dude, when they get out and he talks with Iris, dude, when the car rolls up and he's talking to him on the phone, and like you can barely kind of make it out. I'm like, oh, and like the car's rolling up, and I just laughed. I was like, it's gonna be Keaton. And when the crowd dissipates, I fuck, everyone. I fucking lost my shit laughing.
Who the fuck is this guy?
Dude, yeah, dude.
So good. So good.
He's just, hey Barry, just what? It's just, hey, it's me, and he's just, who the fuck is this? Like, that was so funny. I lost my shit. I was like, no way did they just do that.
So
like,
good.
He's just, you're not. No. And he's just,
You're not Batman. And he's, what are you talking about, Barry?
what are you talking about, Barry?
So funny.
Dude, oh my god. This is one of my favorite parts of the whole thing. It was that very end. I was like, get the fuck out of here. I was like, Clooney.
So good.
Not how it was originally supposed to end.
No, that was
a recent development in the past few months.
Yeah.
Okay, what was it supposed to end?
It was supposed to be Keaton.
Oh, okay.
It's supposed to be Keaton.
And
well,
then,
first it was supposed to be Ben Affleck. Then they changed it to Keaton.
Well,
I think.
It's supposed to be Keaton. Well, actually, there is 2 different versions now.
I thought it was supposed to originally be Ben Affleck.
I've heard recently that it would have been changed to Keaton comes out, Sasha Calle flies down, Barry realizes something's up. Ben Affleck reaches him somehow through the Speed Force, telling him, Barry, you have to come find us and save us. And then that's when it ends. And it basically sets up Crisis on Infinite Earths. That's what Hamada's vision was. And they were
God damn it!
We should have let him stay!
Dude, that would have been awesome.
God damn it.
Right. God damn it.
That sounds so
Sell it to Netflix.
That sounds so hot. It sounds so good.
Sell it to Netflix.
And Cavill would have been back.
Oh, fuck.
Dude, god damn it. Fucking Warner Brothers.
I'm salty.
I honestly, Jordan, I kind of wish you didn't just tell me that.
I'm salty.
That pisses me off. Now I want them to sell it.
Imagine how I feel.
Probably worse than we actually do, because we'll probably just get over it. But I mean,
We'll just get over it.
God damn it!
That's
that's
assault.
I'll let Kevin soak that out. I'm supposed to read this. This is officially the Haley's shout out quote review of The Flash.
Okay.
Quote. I thought it was fucking phenomenal. Was a little cringe from time to time in the beginning with CGI. But overall, excellent movie. Okay. Emotionally moving scenes. The scene where he left his mom go was heart-wrenching, perfect. And they closed the movie out perfectly, bringing in Zaddy Clooney. Rating 10 out of 10. Highly recommend.
yes.
Top fucking notch.
Fucking
top notch.
And then,
Zaddy Clooney.
I told you guys earlier, but on the way home, I asked her, I was just like, you think I'll be as good looking as George Clooney when I'm his age?
That'd be
because
fantastic.
my God, that silver fox!
Shit, I'd take fucking Harrison Ford at this point, because I'm going to look like fucking the dude from the Goonies by the time I'm their age.
So, Gunn has already came out and said that Clooney's not going to be his Batman.
Oh, well, fuck no. He's 62 years old.
I'm just letting people know, for people on the internet, because there are people, James Gunn lying again, Clooney's on the... Anyway.
Hey, I'm going to say this real quick. The other reason, again, so I said how I watched all those 90s movies, and I will say, I know that he openly admits he hated that he made that movie, and he hated making it. Like, he basically did it because of the money they gave him. Like, he got an outrageous amount of money to be Batman for that movie. Yeah. Like, it was like he was dumb if he turned it down.
Right.
But he hated making it. He hates that he made it. But I will say, he actually was a good Bruce Wayne.
He was actually a great Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
I loved his Bruce. Actually, I have a guilty pleasure for those movies. They're terrible, but I occasionally like, because I will say I loved them as a kid.
I loved them as a kid too.
Same.
So
but
I
will
like to go
say,
back
going back and watching it, it's like Forever and that one and Batman and Robin. It's like, God, they're
rough.
They are the camp of comic book movies. Like, they're the you're on the campground.
They are the Yellowstone Park of camp. Okay.
Yes, they are. But I will say, like, when I went back and watched them, I was like, remember watching Batman and Robin. I'm like, this was actually really good. Like, he's actually a great Bruce Wayne Batman. Oops, sorry. Yeah, I will say that's like also why I love The Shot, because I was just like, dude, that's awesome. And again, the reaction to it too. Just that's where the F bomb was. Just, who the fuck is this? Like, that was I was just lost, losing it, man. I still like, even today as I was telling people, I was like, guys, I'm just gonna tell you right now, one of the best parts of the movie, the best cameo to me, I was like, it's literally at the very end, right before the credits roll, and it's hilarious. And they were like, and like, some of my coworkers that just don't care, they just Googled it, because I was like, well, I don't want to say it out loud for the
people that do care,
and the older generations that are gonna know the reference, because they Google it and they go, and they just like kind of go, oh, and then then another one, he Googles the name, and then he just goes, oh, I didn't realize this, and I'm like, you've never have seen that movie, and he just no, and I was like, oh, dude, I was like, it's bad.
But I ain't gonna lie, even though I know he ain't gonna come back, it almost makes me just like, well, damn, if we were gonna go like an older Bruce, like
I was thinking that too. I was like, well, actually, Brave and the Bold, it's like, it could work. Just have a lot older Damien.
And it's like, fuck, I just saw old ass Michael Keaton back, man. Just fucking beat some ass like several times.
Yeah. Like, that's the thing. It's like, yeah, like Michael Keaton's 71, I think. So I mean, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, well, he came back and you showed like how, well, apparently Bruce Wayne that's that old is still gonna cruise around, and so it's like, well, why not have Clooney come back for it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, there's no way.
There's no way, but I would be down actually to get another Clooney Batman.
All right.
Cast him in Batman Beyond.
So, Gunn said that this movie was kind of perfect for the whole resetting of the universe, blah, blah, blah. So, did you guys stay?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, clearly he is still going to be... I took that as he's definitely still going to be Aquaman going forward.
Well, yeah, he's still got a second movie to come out still.
Well,
I think that's the whole...
But the whole part of the line where he's like, they have the conversation, and he goes, because I think maybe that end credit scene wasn't, maybe that's when I'm getting confused, is that was the one that was getting flip-flopped with Ben Affleck and him? Maybe? I don't know.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I thought that one too, like, that was a very more recent, like, that very end credit scene, that was like a more recent change as well.
Oh.
Maybe not.
Or no, wait, no, maybe that is how it would. So actually, yeah. I think the movie was supposed to end with Keaton and Sasha Calle coming, and then I think in the post-credit scene, it's supposed to be Barry and Aquaman, and then that's when Batman shows up and says, Barry, you have to come find us. I think that's actually how it originally was supposed to go.
Okay.
Because the whole post-credit scene being the Flash and Aquaman drinking was a thing. That's always been a thing. Now it plays out a little bit differently than it was going to. So that's actually how it was supposed to go.
Okay. Because like to me, when he's like, so you're telling me that like there's all these different Batman and Superman, all of it, so they're all different. He's like, but you and I always remain the same. And he's like, yeah, we're fulcrums or something, whatever. And like, I just took that as like, that pretty much confirms that he ain't going anywhere as Aquaman.
See, but at the same time, it's not true though, because when he was in the other universe, they kind of established that he wasn't there. Curry wasn't there because his dad, Boba, didn't marry Nicole Kidman. Heartbreak feels great in a place like this.
That was fucking hilarious. When he goes, he said, she's a Atlantean princess, and he goes,
yeah.
Looks back, and it's this big old lady just sitting on the couch. He's like,
no,
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 I don't think so.
So it was prank call and just hangs up on him.
That's funny.
But yeah, that was like the joke, is he was like, well, yeah, you're big and hairy and something faithful or something like that. So basically a dog, because that was the joke, is that since he didn't have Arthur as a kid, he ended up having a dog which had like a basically Aquaman colored collar, and he named the dog Arthur. Nice. So he was Aqua Dog. But I want to almost get some clarification on that post-credit scene. My hypothesis would be, if this really was a reset, then the Aquaman that he was talking to in the post-credit scene would be in the new universe. So it is a new Aquaman, but it's still just one that is very similar to the one that we've known before.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we ever actually got clarification on if that Aquaman, because some people were talking in the when that post-credit scene was going on. So there was a couple things that I missed when they were saying. So I don't know if they said anything that might have like concreted that they were in a different universe. That's the other thing is the Muschietis were like, there's some big surprises in the post-credit scene. It's like that wasn't super surprising.
I mean, honestly, to me, it was just like, why is this even here? I mean,
that's how I felt.
That's why I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like,
to try to get people to still be interested in Aquaman too.
Aquaman.
Oh, Jason Momoa still exists. Oh, he still matters. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he just said, I'm still here. I'm still here.
I'm here,
it's
man.
coming. Don't worry.
I came out of WB offices jacked out of my mind, excited, but still doing my thing over here, man.
We're all good here, man.
Still love to know why he was so jacked about that announcement.
Yeah.
I still want to get that answer someday.
Yeah, there's got to be more to it than that.
It's not Lobo. What is it?
Right.
Yeah, you know what? After us talking about it, I'm going to stick with the 8.5.
I'm staying with my 9.
Staying with my actual 9. That's what I'm We had a buddy this morning, and I just go 10 immediately.
That's what he was telling me earlier. I'm like, oh, I was like, really? That's a rare.
KP came hot out the gates with a 10er.
I just go 10. I was like, I don't even care about Spotty CGI because he hadn't seen it yet. So I was like, kind of, and he fucks with me just as much as I fuck with him. So
yeah, highly recommend. I think as a Snyder fan,
so good.
It felt like a. Granted, we still have.
I'm usually in bed by now. That's why I'm yawning.
Yeah, I gotta be up at 4:30. My God.
Yeah, I literally usually I am in the schedule now of I go to bed at like 9:30, 10, and I wake up at 5:30 each morning.
Yeah.
It's something.
No matter when I go to bed, I wake up at 6. Around the money. I can go to bed at 2 in the morning. I can go to bed at 9 p.m. 5 p.m. I'm waking up at 6 a.m. No matter what. When it gets brighter earlier, sun, I'm up.
Yeah. Nice.
Mm-hmm. For better or for worse sometimes.
I do think this is a pretty good send-off for the Snyder crew, I guess. Technically, we still have one more trip with Aquaman. But this is really all I wanted. I just didn't get Cavill, which sucks, but got most of the Justice League together one more time before they send off in the sunset. That's really mostly what I wanted. So one more trip with Aquaman, and then we're on to the new universe, the new DCU, as they call it. So
and all the blue beetles that you can handle.
Batman's a fascist.
That is so funny, dude. It looks so good. I'm excited for that one. That, I'm excited for Dune.
Oh, the new Dune looks great.
To the window, to the wall.